All right. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. We are back for another show. Hopefully, everybody had a great weekend.
Yeah.
Nice, relaxed. Maybe got outside, got a little pre Memorial Day cookout going. Pre burn. Got to do that. So, today we're going to be talking about sister wives. We're going to be going over seeking sister wives. We got a whole thing planned. It's going to be amazing. But before we get started, I want to make sure because I am notorious for forgetting to do this, but I want to put it up front. I want to make sure that I thank the mods who are
Yeah.
taking care of all our channels and making sure that everything in the chat room stays kosher and fun and exciting and all that good stuff. So big shout out to the mods who are doing that. For me, I have Rochelle J. I have Lizzie B. J Baby isn't in today, but I have my other two. Do you guys want to thank your mods? Give them
Yeah,
a quick
thank
shout
you
out.
to all of our mods. Everyone is so awesome, always keeping the chat respectful, and people in the chat are just generally respectful. So it
Right.
doesn't get to. I was in because I've been watching the Karen Reed trial. I usually watch with Emily D. Baker, but she
Mhm.
was late to court on Friday. Late to court. I'm very invested in this trial. But I was watching Law and Crime. Their chat is pretty much unmoderated, and it was like a scary place, you guys.
It's all the way out, right?
It
It's
was
all the
like
way
the
out.
Wild West.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I also want to give a shout out to my mods, James and Sarah's mods.
Okay.
So
All
that's
right.
just
Awesome.
me making
Yeah.
fun of. I need to get some mods so I don't turn into Karen's trial comment section. Is that what it? Who's
Yeah,
Karen?
Karen Reed, it's oh my god. I am so invested. We didn't have court today. I literally tell my husband, like, I'm going to be in court today.
Of course. You're right.
Is
And then
this
I'm
like
screaming it at work.
is this Casey Anthony level? Because that's the last time I remember that.
It is beyond. We're talking cover up that goes all the way to the top. To the top.
Mm,
Wow.
mm.
Wow.
Maybe I'll just
Yeah.
start checking that out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So, are you guys going to do any content on that? That maybe folks can look out for it.
I did a video on Sarah Spills about it. So if you guys
Mm,
want to check it out, but I would just super recommend Emily D. Baker. This is her merch. She is an actual lawyer, so she has like the legal expertise. And what's really cool on YouTube, this is like just an aside, because the public in the United States, the public has rights to witness trials.
right.
They're supposed to be in front of the public. Live streaming these trials, I think, adds a layer of transparency to the judicial process. This, I really believe, like, I personally believe that there is not enough evidence to convict Karen Reed. This trial is a mess. But
Mm,
if it wasn't for the notoriety and the publicity, I think like she might have gotten convicted.
without a doubt.
We're halfway through the trial. So
For people who are just as confused as me,
yeah.
Karen Reed is this lady who has been charged with second degree murder. It looks like.
Mhm.
Is that the right one?
Yeah, just
Um,
a quick gist because we resume court tomorrow, you guys, week 4. So feel free to jump in at any time. We're still in the prosecution's case. It's anyone's game. This is like the NBA finals. Like we are. So
Wow.
she is a woman. She is I believe, a financial analyst and college professor from Boston.
Mm,
And this is all so this guy is a Boston police officer. He was found unresponsive and hypothermic on the front lawn of another Boston police officer's front lawn in January of 2022. It was determined that his girlfriend, Karen Reed, backed up, struck him, left him for dead. So she's been charged with murder. She is alleging that this is a vast cover up and it goes all the way to the top.
wow. Wow.
Like the
Isn't that
judge is being accused of impropriety. Like
Oh,
there's
wow.
layers
Wow.
of layer. There's been a rehomed dog. There's been a rehomed home. There's been rehomed phone. Like it's
Well,
so
I know
That
what
is
rabbit hole
bad.
I'm crawling in tonight after this
if
live.
you can't sleep,
Right.
there is 2 Reddits. There's the Karen Reed trial and Justice for Karen Reed. You can definitely go down the rabbit hole.
Okay.
I will.
Sorry to sidetrack our live with that.
No, that's all right. That's all right. I like new information. I dig the trials, and just like you, I think that they're important. Not even to get too far afield, but I do think that, like you said, that they're important because not only do they give us a way to see what's going on in the courthouse with regard to people's situations, for busybodies like me, but you also get a chance to see not how the court is performing, and you get a better understanding about how our court systems work. So
Mhm.
that when something does happen that may affect you or you may be interested in, you already have kind of a way to understand why they're doing what they're doing and when they're doing certain things.
And
So, and what standards they have to prove.
Yeah, and I'll be totally honest with my own bias. I typically, everyone that goes to jail, I'm innocent. I was like, yeah, sure.
Everybody's
Okay.
innocent. Yeah.
Everyone's innocent. Everyone was wrongfully convicted. So when I heard she's alleging she was framed, I was like, okay, sure, Jan. And then
Mhm.
the details of this case, it really makes you, that whole presumption of innocence is so important to the legal process. Again, going off on a tangent, but it really is like a gut check for that presumption of innocence. Like people, I feel like that are holding so strongly to this notion that she has to be guilty. It's like, where is that presumption of innocence for people?
Right.
Anyways,
Right.
I'm on a tangent.
Probably
Nah,
doesn't
it's
help that
okay.
her name's Karen.
Yeah.
Right,
And then,
2024.
I think if she was, there's a whole lot of law enforcement people that don't give a shit about driving under the influence in the Boston suburbs, you guys. Like that is for sure. So
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
All right. But we'll drop the intro and then we'll come back and we'll jump into some Sister Wives, guys.
It's polygamy time, guys.
Yeah.
Right? From murder
Polygamy
to multiple
time.
marriages.
Yeah.
That fast. That's how we do it.
Don't you think like that? I will love you endlessly. If you only believe me, don't you think like that? I will love you endlessly. If you only believe in me, yeah.
Let's get it. All right. Just so everybody knows, I got to do the whole. If you guys make sure you hit the like, it's easy if you hit the like on your way in. That way you already have it done. Smash that like. You can sit back and enjoy the show. Don't have to worry about it later. Also, if you're not yet subscribed to our channels, that would be a great time to go ahead and do that. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Just as an aside. But yeah, so this week we're talking about Sister Wives Season 2, Episode 1. This now they've gotten back from the honeymoon. They did the marriage. They merged the families. Now the Brown family finds themselves in a situation where they have to present themselves as a polygamous family for the first time, and they've taken to did the whole press run and everything to let everybody know what's going on. But before we got into all that good juicy stuff, we had back to school time. Because apparently it's right around September. All the kids are going back to school. Now, some of the kids have already been to public school, and some of the kids, it's their first year.
Yeah.
According to Cody, he said 7 of his kids, this is their first year in the public school system. I had some thoughts on that, but I wanted to get you guys' perspective on like the transition, like forcing the kids into a transition where they're going from the private was it the LDS school, I guess it was, or a polygamous school
It's like
to
a polygamy. Like I went to Lutheran school for my 1st through 12th grade. So I went to like religious school, but what he's talking about is like a religious co-op that was unaccredited. It was
Mhm.
like these kids had to get their GEDs after.
Right.
So yeah.
So it's kind of a place to go, I guess.
I guess
I
it's
don't
like
want to play.
better than nothing. I don't know.
Right. Right. And it makes the kids comfortable. But what I had a thing, and I'll throw my theory out there. I won't put anybody on the spot. I'll throw my theory out there. When they said that all of a sudden their kids were making this big switch, first I think it was Christine's kids. Who were the kids doing the big switch from the private school to the public school? I think it was Christine's kids. I think she even intonated as much by saying that she didn't, feel comfortable sending her kids to public school. But I also think, and I just wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this, that they sent them, they sent the kids to the public school because if they're a collective of private, group of kids who come from polygamous families, and you have the family that's on TV, do you think the school may have told them, like, you guys can't come here because we don't need the attention of, if the state's already looking at you, I don't need you coming over here with me. What do you guys think about that?
Wait, are you asking if we thought that like the public schools didn't want the brown kids? Is that what you're asking?
No, the school they were going to, like the private school with all the polygamous kids were going to this one school. I'll even count it this way. There was a point where Larry Bird, he played for the Celtics, Boston Celtics, talking about Boston. And he had a death threat. And his coach had said, look, man, you can go home and, keep everybody safe, or you could play the game. Larry Bird said, the hell with that, because Larry Bird was kind of crazy. He had a hell of a jump shot. But he said, the hell with that, I'm going to play. So when the coach, it came time for them to huddle up before the game started, he said, all right, Larry, why don't you go stand in the middle of the court? Because if the guy's a bad shot, I don't want you standing next to me. So Larry Bird walks over, and he walks up to the huddle and puts his arm around the coach, and asks him to stand in the middle of the court. But the whole point is, like, if you're in trouble and you have things going on, I don't want you nowhere near me. Like, if the cops are looking at you and I'm breaking the same laws you breaking, you don't get to come over my house for the cookout. So I was wondering if you guys thought maybe the polygamous school told the Browns that because you guys are on TV and you're out now, that you can't come here.
I had never thought of that, but that definitely, I can totally believe that. Somehow, Leon, and it hurts to see Leon in this time, because we know that there was so much repression going on in Leon at this time, and
Right.
for them, this was like a safety bubble. Like, what the devil is better than the devil you don't know. And Leon never. They tried public school for a year, didn't like it, went back to the co-op school. So maybe they had some sort of agreement. Okay, Leon's cool, but no, like get the rest of out of here. I don't know.
Yeah, I always just believed the narrative until you said that, James. And then I was like, well, all these people do for like the next 18 seasons is lie. So the narrative is crafted. I was literally thinking about this while watching the episode this afternoon because of this narrative that I've bought into, even though it's like another like Robin's the hero narrative. I was like, oh, this is one of the positives that Robin did for the family. Yeah. So the story is like, oh, Robin was like, I'm not sending my kids to co-op polygamy school. They're going to, and then Cody's like, oh, the togetherness. And so I think a lot of the fans like me accredit Robin. We say like, okay, Robin's not perfect, but she got the kids in public school and did some other good things. But now that you say it, James, like, yes, it's entirely plausible that that's a bold-faced lie. And it's actually, they were asked to leave.
Yeah. And you know what's so funny is like literally all of the kids except for Leon were appeared to be like super jazzed about going to public school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and kind of what you to tag team on what you had said earlier. It is sad to see them at that time because I just my heart goes out to them because I feel like they were lost and they were trying to hold on to something. And the staying at that school may have been a way for them to try to hold on to the thing that they were used to because they were having different feelings and they weren't feeling like they really fit in anywhere. And so staying at a place that you're used to being around people that you're used to and not being, kind of dropped into the deep end at the public school might have been good for them at the time.
Yeah.
But it's still painful that they had to go through that, especially by themselves when they're confused. They don't really have an opportunity to talk to anybody and say, hey, this is what I'm feeling. And then to at least have some level of understanding and compassion come back from the people that they're talking to. So that kind of made me sad when I was watching them explain, I'm staying at the school. Like,
Yeah.
Be free, girl. Enjoy yourself. Live your life. Live your damn life. We got to give a shout out to Fairchild for their nice super chat. Went from homeschool to public school. Definitely a cultural shock. Yeah. I don't think public schools, public schools kind of get a bad rap. I don't think they're as bad as most people kind of hold them out to be. I think they're.
It's so funny because we're kind of dealing with that right now with our kids, me and my husband. And the only public school I ever went to was college. I went to state school. And that was a huge, like, whoa, so I kind of had that moment that like the brown kids went through, but I was 17 when I went to school. But my husband went to public school. And so I have this kind of, because I'm from Los Angeles, LAUSD is not known for having great public schools. And so I have this aversion to public school. And my husband is like, you need to let your bias go. So I think they do get a bad rap, but I think it totally depends on where you live and how much resources get put into your school district too.
Right. Absolutely.
The interesting is my dad, I know I say it all the time, sorry, but my dad was a preacher, and so very, not the same thing as polygamous, but very like focused on what I was or wasn't being taught. And they were very high on public education. My parents were. They wanted me. They were like, they made sure to set me aside and say, Amanda, we couldn't afford to send you to private school anyways, but even if we could afford to send you to private school, we would send you to public school. And I believed them. So my parents were pretty high on public education.
That's really awesome.
Right. No, it definitely has a place, especially like you said. Like I went to parochial schools for most of my life, and my kids, they went to public school because I moved to a place where they have really good public schools.
Yeah, so good for you.
It was a planned thing, but yeah, some schools some public schools are banging. So I give them credit. Big shout out to Kika Lika sponsoring the show once again. $10 super chat. It's almost as if ripping your kids out of everything they've ever known, culture, friends, etc., and moving them to a different state in their teen years isn't advisable. Who would have thought? That's an excellent point. Talk about a little development. Also, a big shout out from Eve. Eve, what's going on? That's my favorite Irish lass.
Eve had an earlier super too as well. Thank you, Eve.
Thank you, Eve.
Okay, let's check back. My favorite thing about polygamy is the sisterhood.
Yeah.
Hey, she's laughing.
Garrick, shout out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I missed a couple. Lizzie B with the $5 super chat. Where can I send my mod resume, Amanda? I have references. James is mod. Yeah, she's one of my long-standing mods.
You're hired. I just am terrible at setting this stuff up.
Oh, here we go. And Eve with another $5 super chat. Have a great live, folks. Probably going to miss it for sure, but got to take myself a bit on a live. Got to
No,
talk to myself a bit on live. That's it. That's something right.
Did you guys notice Eve started the live out like a long time ago, and Eve was like talking to herself in the chat. It was pretty funny. It was pretty humorous.
Eve is awesome. She's over across the pond, so her time is like way off. Like so when I was doing the she would come in for the Sunday night shows, and I would start at 10 o'clock, which is also part of the reason why I started moving them up to 7. And I'll be doing my other show probably about 4 o'clock. Because the European folks, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning for them.
Yeah.
So she was rocking with me at 4 in the morning. So, gotta give it a salute. But
It's
she's
nice
about that
to,
life.
a lot of Australians watch Sister Wives. So shout out to the Australians. And I have no idea what time it is over there, but it's like tomorrow. I think.
Right.
Yeah, they're like, I always feel like Australia is like 4 days ahead of everyone else. Like, how is that?
They don't they get New Year's? They get New Year's first. Don't they experience
What it feels like.
Yeah,
they're in the future.
Yeah,
like it's a prison.
Yeah.
Right.
They'll let us know how it is before we get there.
Yeah.
They knew that Y2K was a bunch of malarkey before any of us got there.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right. Telling people to stop running your credit cards up.
Yeah.
Aaron Schaub, hopefully I said your name right. 499 super chat. Public schools have to offer special ed services like for autistic kids. I've taught and was raised in a public school. Okay.
This is an excellent an excellent thing to point out because a lot of parochial schools don't have just the resources, or they don't expend the energy into those resources. So kids that get sent there that have needs like that fall through the cracks, and that's so heartbreaking. So it is nice that there is that. I think it's like IEPs, like in early intervention or something. But it's nice that there are those resources in public schools.
Right. And that's an excellent point, because with parochial school, they can choose their students. Parochial and private, they get to choose their students. So they typically choose the kids they like, or the best of the best academically or behaviorally or whatever. If you start acting up in a parochial school, they'll put you out.
Or imagine if you're dating and you have your stepdad Cody saying you're just kooky or something, or you're just like particular, that you don't have any sort of need for special academic attention, and you get sent off to private school, and they also are like, sure, whatever dad says, and then you just don't get any kind of accommodation your entire academic career. That is horrible.
Yeah, right. It's like, good luck, buddy. Good luck, buddy. Because Kooky Cody is putting you out now.
Yeah, exactly. At least, and that's the one thing I will say. Like, if we're gonna give Robin any kind of, props, she was like, no, like Cody, like no.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give her credit, because I think that one of the things that is kind of going overlooked with her character, because she is so aggressive with the other ladies as far as like the money and all that stuff, is that Robin has, for the most part, looked out for her children. Whether she's looked out for anybody else's kids or anybody else, she's looked out for her kids.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
she'll put her foot down quick about, we're going to send the kids to school, but like, not my child. You know what I mean?
Not down for the co-op polygamous school. She was like, kids will go to public school. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh, my kids are getting education. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think about them going on to the Today Show, and Cody kind of getting a little tongue-tied when he's asked, why do you want to be a polygamist? Shoot, that's a good question. I didn't think you were going to ask that.
That was amazing. That was like, I felt like one of the first times the editors successfully made me laugh on purpose. And it wasn't because I was like laughing at like the ridiculousness of the people on the show or whatever. Or this, I was like, oh, I'm supposed to laugh here, and I am laughing here. Like
Yeah.
successful edits, and and also Cody, very funny. It's very funny that he freezes up initially. It's fun to watch. I'm not gonna lie, I'd watch it over and over.
Because he's usually so, like, the very first episode, he's like, hey, I want you to come meet my family. I think you'll think we're awesome. Like, he's such a ham. And then to see him get on the news and be like, like, totally frozen. It was
like a sketch. Like he was doing it on purpose. It was like if you were watching a movie from the early 90s or something and some character is on like a show and they freeze up. I feel like I've seen that in some older movies or TV shows. Like I couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I enjoy the fact that it looked kind of like it put me in mind of Cody. Put me in mind of a guy who comes in the house at 4:00 in the morning, smell like strippers and vodka, and he told his wife that he was at work. Where the hell you been?
Is he Nicole from 90 Days? Didn't she tell Mahmoud she was at work when she was wasted at 2 a.m.?
Yes. Oh man.
My friend. Yeah, because that's usually what happens. The whole my friend called. See, I was at work, but my friend called and they had a fight with their boyfriend, girlfriend, and I had to go check them out. So I was on my way over there, and then I left work, and then we went to the bar, and while we was at the bar, we started drinking and stuff, and I lost track of time. But they was really hurt. And all of a sudden, you're a counselor. Come on, Counselor Troy. It's not working out. Big shout out to Kimberly the Queen, 1961, $5 Super Chat HBO special, the Help a Brother Out special. That's right, bringing it back.
So I first saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, is there like a polygamy special on HBO?
Yeah, it's called My Take on Reality now.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Let's see. Janelle said she was worried about the influences they would have because they started talking about why they weren't sending their kids to the public schools. Mm-hmm. And she had mentioned that she was concerned about the negative influence that the kids would be introduced to. And I thought to myself, as soon as she said it, I was like, yeah, like freedom, liberty, the ability to choose, self-determination, those kind of those negative influences that you don't want to disrupt the cult programming. So what did you guys think about necessarily the excuses that they were given as to why they wouldn't put them in the public schools?
Go ahead, Sarah, and then I have some thoughts on this.
Well, it's funny because I think if I were to ask my parents why they put me in private school, I think that they would echo a lot of what Janelle said, actually. Like fear of unknown influences and stuff like that. So and as like a parent now, like I get it to an extent, but then it's like at what point, and I'm the video I put out earlier today was about the show being a net positive. Like when the upbringing that you are providing your kids is so much more toxic than reality TV, like what does that say? Like if your ideology and your schooling is gonna be more detrimental probably than public school, and I'm not saying public school is bad at all, that came out wrong, but what does that say,
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, Sarah about to get some letters. It's like, as bad as in public school now.
I love
How dare you.
Oh my gosh. I cannot speak highly enough about educators, like definitely the unsung heroes of society for sure. That and nurses.
Yeah.
Right. Now, Amanda built this stuff, so I want to hear what she has to say. What's going to happen? But before you get started, let me give a Fairchild $1.99 Super Chat. Private school does not equal good influence. This is very true.
Excellent.
Now, go ahead, Amanda.
Oh, okay. Did either of you watch the Salt Lake City Real Housewives season and hear about the polygamy plot that hit that show?
No.
I watched Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I have not heard of the polygamy plot, but
It was a weak
Nikki
plot
Rose
line.
sounds just like Robin Brown. So I always love
Yeah. Oh, she does.
the real deal come from Whitney.
Mhm. I just on that show on when it did come up, and it comes up more than once, like every season it gets some reference. I think it's like Heather Gay or somebody, one of the Real Housewives, is like, you can't live in Utah without being related to a polygamist. The plot line is like one of the cast members who only lasts one season, her husband supposedly wants to be polygamous after his wife says she's done having children, and she gets really mad. And then
Jenny. Yeah.
Jenny, yeah.
Yeah.
And later on it seemed like it was like fake, probably. It wasn't really real. But I just remember feeling like the Salt Lake City Real Housewives show cast members treat polygamy like it's like very normal in Utah to be related to a polygamist. And on the show, like the narrative is with the school thing, right? Is that they don't want them to find out the kids being polygamous, right?
Right.
Part of it.
Right.
And so I did
they're
question
trying to
that.
hide, yeah.
I was like, is it that bad? And I was like, yes. If this was Oklahoma, like, yes, I think people would be merciless to these children, especially after they go on reality television. But I was like, is it really that bad in Utah? If like so many people have like relatives who are polygamous and know somebody who's a polygamist, obviously they were hiding it, like to the point that they're not filling it out on their insurance and stuff. I don't know.
Right. That's a good point.
That's actually
There's a. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that's like yet another kind of inconsistency that we see the Browns portraying polygamy, like their fear of being persecuted or prosecuted. That wasn't really a thing. Like, yeah, it was a felony, but they were never really, because like you said, Amanda, everyone in Utah like knows or is tangentially like akin to someone who practices polygamy. They know someone who knows someone who practices polygamy.
Right.
It's like not uncommon.
Yeah, they'd have to start kicking in a lot of doors. That's basically what the DA said. Like, you know how many people we would have to arrest if we started actually pursuing this? It's not a thing.
Yeah.
If anything, I think they might have
doing other things. They're not gonna, like Warren Jeffs. The reason why they went after him was because he was also all the things that will get this
child bride
monetized. He was like,
Yeah,
real bad.
Right. Oh, a big shout out to Kika Lika once again, $10 super chat. Thank you so much. What kind of parent, let alone 5, move without thinking of the children's school district they are moving to? Why Vegas? Can we get an actual answer why they chose Vegas as the moral superiors of all places? That's an excellent point.
I'm wondering if bigamy is legal there in Nevada.
No. Although they call it Sin City,
illegal.
they will lock your ass up for bigamy. You got now. There are certain places you could probably do the oldest trade, if you will, but polygamy now.
Well, it's so funny with like marriage certificates. When my husband and I went and got our marriage license, all we had to do was say we weren't related. We didn't have to prove anything. And then it says, have you ever been married or whatever? I don't know if you guys watch Love After Lockup, but there was a couple, Maurice and Jessica, from like several years ago. They got married. They have since broke up, but they never got divorced. Maurice actually went and married another woman, and they like filled out a marriage certificate. So that should be bigamy, but like nothing's happening. So
Oh, maybe it's show magic. Maybe it's like production magic.
No, it wasn't on the show. Like there's like a whole. We're talking about like a subreddit rabbit hole. There's like a whole Love After Lockup subreddit culture that follows
Right.
Maurice and his new lady love. But they're not on the show anymore. It's just purely like social media antics.
Wow.
But yeah,
Wow.
that's not a legal marriage. So
No.
yeah.
No. Well, I guess the chance, because like in Utah, the chances that a district attorney is actually going to kind of hammer them out and try to figure out who's married and who's not, it might be low. But you will always have the problem where somebody dies or something happens and there's some insurance money or there's a house or property, and you have the second wife who thinks that she's entitled to, he left you 20 years ago. He moved in with me. We built this business up from nothing. And now we own these houses or these properties. And you think you're going to come in there? Absolutely. It's my property because I'm the wife. And that's where you really start seeing rubber road on a lot of these false marriages or whatever.
Mhm.
Big shout out to Aaron Shaw with the $1.99 super chat. A couple of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City are Mormon royalty. So just to kind of confirm what you were saying, that some of these people, even though they sit around and pretend like they'll never know, and we're so picked on, like they in deep, So, what did you guys think about when Robin tries to explain what's different in her family? Like, about, like, she was talking to the kids and she was saying, all right, guys, now what's different about our family? And then Dade looks back and says, we're polygamists. And then she says, that's right. And the other kids don't know nothing about it. So we have to be very careful. And she talked about how she was afraid of coming out and letting everybody know. But it's like, you're on TV. So everybody already knows. And when the kids already know the high, like if they were staying hidden the whole time, wouldn't the kids already? I would think that would already be kind of baked into the cake, that they would be very defensive about who they told and who they didn't tell, right?
I mean, Christine definitely was raised with that fear of people finding out, but yet she becomes this very public advocate for polygamy. I mean, that's how they found their family, was through Christine and this organization that she was working for. So it is interesting. And I can kind of sympathize with especially Robin and Christine, because I think those two, more so than Mary, and Janelle didn't grow up polygamous, but Robin and Christine seem to really be the two that grew up with the most fear around like what could happen to their family. And that's another thing that I think goes to one of the positives about this reality show, was that the level of fear these kids are raised in, simply, like, if you tell someone you're going to rip your family apart, like, how are you going to put that on a child? Whereas allowing them to go to school and claim their brothers and sisters and claim their other moms, it frees them from that burden that a child shouldn't have. And of course, the whole reality TV puts a whole lot of other burdens on them. But in that instance, I think Christine seemed like such an anxious child. Right. Her fear of toasters, just, I mean, from one anxious child to another, like, I can recognize, like, you were an anxious child.
Christine really shines to me in this episode. The way they ended it on her just being the only one who answered, I don't know if I would do the show again if I could go back. I just thought, I know I say this a lot, but she was such a star in this episode. She was so much more likable when she's interacting with the kids. I noticed. Although I will say the moment when I'm sorry, I'm really veering off course here, but I'm just Gabe hugging Janelle. That like was so sweet and
Yeah.
adorable. So that was also a great moment. But anyways, another Christine episode for me where she's so likable and vulnerable and just super honest and with the camera in a way that's very endearing to me.
The kids could
Yeah.
always go and get something to eat down at
Yep.
Christine's, that's for sure. Here comes Logan ready to raid the fridge, and there's no sign on Christine's fridge saying you gotta ask first. There, everyone
Yep.
knows, like, you can get a
No
home
big-
cooked meal. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead,
Right,
Sarah.
right.
You can get
Oh,
a
I was
home
gonna
cooked.
say, like, all the kids knew you could get a home cooked meal at Christine's. And what I love too is Janelle is so self-aware, like, yeah, if they were at my house, we'd be eating sandwiches.
Well, I think that there is a point too where you could make a couple arguments that one, Christine might have been more concerned about the impacts, because it wasn't just the impacts on her that she was concerned about when she said she wouldn't proceed with the show, but she was also, because she was so close with the other children and her kids as well, and she was so tied into the family during the day to day, that she could see the impacts of the bigger family. Whereas when the other wives were answering, would you do it again? I'd absolutely do it again, because it'd be so powerful and it's so encouraging and it's so wonderful and empowering and all that. I kind of got the feeling, and I really don't want to make it a slight, but I just got the feeling that they were looking at it from a perspective of siloed, how is this affecting me? So all of their influences as to why they would do it or not was all kind of siloed into how is this affecting me? And it's not a bad thing for me. But Christine is looking at it from a perspective of this might impact these kids negatively, because she did have the story about her brothers being bullied at school because the kids knew that they were polygamous. I think Cody,
Agreed.
what do you guys think about because I did have a feeling about that, because she talked about when we were kids, the kids were so mean and they were bullying, and I'm like, she's about as old as I am, so we're Generation X, and sweetheart, everybody was getting bullied back in the day. Like, that's just kind of how you grew up. That was the thing. So,
You mean all those 80s movies are real with like some football star shoving a nerd into a locker? Like, that's how it really was?
But put a kid in a locker is heavy duty, but you would get teased. Like, people would say wild stuff to you, and people make fun of you. Like, things happen. I think, was I bullied? I don't say I was bullied. Like, I had a few issues because I was always a friendly kid, but I was a big kid. So that, every now and again, somebody tried to try you out. And things happen, but it is what it is. And it was just a different time. So I thought it was interesting when Cody had actually brought up that, the kids are taught different, because we were taught civil rights, but these guys are given civil rights and equality as like a morality. Like, so he tries to couch it, and the kids are being taught differently now. And I think that that's true, just from the perspective of kids. Like, they have zero, because I think they went the other way with my generation. So where a lot of stuff was permissible, by the time his kids started coming into play, they had a zero tolerance policies in place for a lot of the schools. So they weren't tolerating any bullying. Fist fights were completely out. Like, you couldn't be in school fighting, or everybody gets suspended, possibly expelled. So it's just a different time. And it's not a bad thing. It's actually a pretty good thing. It allows kids to be who they are. But what did you guys think about that? As far as like them talking to the kids about bullying in the school, taking the positions that they took, and why it'd be more acceptable for them to send their kids to school, public school.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting, but then I also noticed how, we're not to this point yet, but Leon is so against, like, I don't know what Leon's deal was at this time, but they were having such a hard time in school, to the point that when it was time to leave and move to Vegas, Aspen, Madison, they're all like, well, what's gonna happen with Leon? Like, Leon can't go to regular school. Like, so I wonder what their attitude was towards like their kids that had a heart. It seemed like, at least with Leon, they kind of were like, let's put you
a hard time.
here in private school.
Right. Well, because I think with Leon, there was a struggle where they weren't open with who they were, and so there's a struggle with them fitting in and trying to find that place. So I think that could have been a reason why they clung to staying at this particular school, because there's a conflict amongst yourself because you're trying to be the thing that everybody says that you should be, but you're not feeling that thing. So you're torn because what you feel like you are and what your family and everybody outside you, what you feel like their expectation of you is. And if you don't live up to that expectation, there's going to be a lot of sadness, tears, and screaming and yelling. And there could be a fear, depending on the conversations. And I don't want to put anything on the Brown family, but it depends also on the conversations and the tolerance that existed in the house at the time. Because if the Browns were like, they were, saying a bunch of wild off left stuff about people in Leon's community, then Leon might not feel like, these are people that I necessarily want to open up to about what's going on with me and what I'm feeling. And the way that I can do that is to try to push it down and stay where I'm at. Because if I stay with this, I stay focused. I had a buddy like that in high school. He felt like if he stayed super focused on a religious aspect, then everything else would go away. And he wouldn't have to worry about who he is. He just focused on this, and he gets super religious. And anytime something bad happens, okay, all right, Amanda. Something bad happens.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was just gonna say, like, I totally can see a situation where when I was closeted, I was literally like #1 preacher's kid. I was the head of my school's like prayers and all the clubs, and I always led the prayer around the pole, and everybody knew me as the preacher's kid. And I went real hard. I was the drummer for our worship band every Sunday. I led a lot of sermons myself, like in youth group. I absolutely was overcompensating. I'm not saying that's what Leon was doing, but for me, I see a similar kind of journey where Leon's like, the other kids want to live in sin and I want to go to our religion school. And I just so relate to that. Just, like you said, I'm going to go hard on this and not think about anything else.
Yeah, I'm just going to push it out because I'm going to heaven. And you be swearing like they're going to heaven for sure. It's always there.
Shudder to think what Leon's journey would have looked like had they never had the opportunity to go to college or, just learn about or meet and interact with other people that weren't part of that AUB bubble. Like how I hope that Leon is living a happy, authentic life. I obviously don't personally know them, but I shudder to think how sad life would be for them had they continued the trajectory they were on at this time, which was very much, I want to follow in my parents' footsteps.
Right. Or just the idea that, because at that time, if you recall, Leon made it a point to say they wanted to have several sister wives and they wanted to be a part of the family. So they were all in on the sister wife stuff. And I think part of that is because that way they could remove themselves. They could have a husband, but not have to deal with a husband. Yeah. And they made everything, by all intents and purposes, on the outside, everything would look perfect. And I guess to a point, one of the sadder parts is, you feel like that's enough, but it's not enough. It's not enough that everything looks perfect and everything looks fine when inside you're not okay. Right. And it creates a lot of pain and strife. But I want to give a shout out to Kika Lika with the $5 super chat. I know all I need to know about Robin when the sign on the fridge.
Mhm.
Everything else doesn't matter. When a kid is hungry, you effing feed him.
Nope.
And I 100% agree with that. We also had Eve. Thank you so much, Kika Lika. Eve with the $10 euros. James, giving me too much kindness credit. I was being a big old B with my. Where's that number? James hates Europeans. I didn't even notice. YouTube hates Europeans. That was $99 and $2 euro. What? Thank you, Eve.
Oh, now I'm Wilson again. I was Wilson.
Right? Yeah, but we had so we talked about Leon, we talked about Christine and the brothers getting picked on. They said they met the principal, and because they met the principal, they felt comfortable sending the younger kids. Let's see. One of the things that kind of popped up was a recurrent theme, the one house deal. So they started talking about, we need to move back to the one house because that'll make things amazing. What did you guys think about that as they started introducing that back into the, well, I guess for the first time, introducing it into the mix?
I wonder if this is just a chip that Cody has been carrying because none of these women wanted to live together except for maybe Janelle. I honestly think Janelle would have been unbothered by all living together. Cody really wanted to make that happen for whatever reason. And it seems like the women just shut him down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What did you think, Amanda?
At least 15 years he's been shut down.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't remember this. There's like a conspiracy theory amongst online fans that he actually didn't want the big house and it was all a show. I think both can be true. Like he's like always putting on a show.
Yeah.
But I think it's believable because Cody is a self-serving person, so of course he's going to want things to be convenient for him to see everyone in his life that he wants to see. And it's actually way less convenient that he has to leave his favorite wife every whatever amount of days when they end up having separate houses. And so I do find this believable. I didn't remember that he mentions it this early. I had forgotten that.
Yeah.
Right.
So
yeah, because he started talking about the stronger family identity and why it was important to him because it's one family. We're coming out of one house. And we all live under the same roof, and we're not cousins. And they kind of sparked it with Christine talking about on the papers. She finally put mother, and Janelle was like, "I put on." Like, I don't care. It is what it is.
Like, I'm not redoing the paperwork. Like,
right.
Got time for that.
The schools know where his aunts. That's where they're gonna stay. Damn it! Yeah.
I'm not even gonna add Robin. Paperwork's already filled out.
She didn't. Right. That's my favorite Janelle. When Janelle is just like, I don't care as much as you guys. Like, I just don't care.
Right.
I gotta go pick up Savannah.
Yeah. The fear was not palpable with Janelle. Like she just didn't. Oh, we got to be afraid because we're all polygamists. They're going to come and get us. Yeah, probably not. They're probably not going to come get us. I saw a police officer. They're going to take us all to jail. He was riding a motorcycle. He can't take us all to jail.
Janelle lived in like a trailer with Mary. I think she could handle jail if it came down to getting arrested for polygamy.
Yeah.
So.
I actually think all of them but Robin would do okay. After living the way they have lived. Yeah, they could survive in prison. They would know how to be okay. Robin would be toast.
Janelle or Christine knows how to make things without a toaster. So
she'd be in there cooking it up.
Yeah.
Oh, Christine would be mother like a weekend. Everybody would be like, "Oh, mother,"
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
No question.
So one of the things that they kept pushing was the idea of polygamy being this thing, and this is something that they've always kind of did. We touched on it earlier, where they talked about it from the respect of polygamy being this secret society, and they're so oppressed and so misunderstood, and nobody understands what's going on with polygamy, and this is why it's important for them to come out and do the TV show, et cetera, et cetera. And it got so bad that they went out and started doing the ice blocking on the hill. And Cody tried to make Cody, and I think it was Robin, tried to make the assertion that this was actually old timey from the Mormons, and it comes from John Smith, who used to go ice blocking, and this is something we as polygamists do, and it's a practice. And Janelle broke that down and was like, no, everybody was ice blocking. I used to ice block. So I guess my question is, what do you guys think about them always trying to make themselves the victims of the show? Like, you know what I mean? Like they're trying to make themselves like this subjected group where they have to be afraid of everybody, and they're seeking acceptance from everyone.
It's like the perpetual state of Robin, perpetual victimhood. Always, I think Robin is only ever comfortable when she is making herself appear othered in some way. So these people are literally funding her life at this moment. They paid to move her up to Lehigh, but she is alone in this other house, not part of the team. Like she always puts a spin on it that she just wants to be part of the team, but she's not part of the team. So that's the whole spin of the show is we're just fighting to be like every other family, right? Like
right. And I think
Yeah,
that's a
right.
big
Nobody was coming after them.
Oh, go ahead, Amanda.
Well, actually, first I was gonna say, like, James, you're the one that always calls it. What do you call it? Like polygaganda or something?
Oh, the polygamy
yeah.
propaganda program.
Oh, I thought. Okay, well, if we don't have a word yet, we need to make one. Like, I don't know, like pluralganda, pluralmaganda. Anyways, let's work on that. But you're the one that's always saying it. But I think early on, it is very much like they're like sticking. And I wonder if there's a little bit of like they're justifying it to themselves because like the producers are whoever in this tell-all. This was like a weird tell-all / regular episode. I don't know what's going on, but whoever's talking to them is bringing up this is like going to negatively impact your kids. We're talking about bullying. We're going to make this storyline where you literally have to flee and you're worried about getting arrested. I wonder if they're trying to like justify it, to themselves. And that's part of the propaganda is like, I need to make sure even if I'm lying to myself, I need, I don't want to admit out loud that I'm doing this like for a selfish reason.
I 100% believe that Robin believes her own version of events. So I could see very much them spinning a tale and buying into that hook, line, and sinker.
Right. And I think that you made an excellent point, Sarah, when you're talking about Robin always kind of making herself the other. Mm-hmm. And I never really thought about it that way, but it is one of those things that it ripples out past Robin in the sense that the whole time we're watching the show, they always sit there and try to make themselves separate. Oh, well, we do the ice thing, and I looked the ice thing up. I never did the ice thing. Like I never did the what do you call it?
Ice blocking.
Ice blocking. Yeah, I didn't do the ice blocking when I was a kid. But I looked it up. I was like, okay, well, what's the history behind it? In California, I didn't know this. In California, they actually have laws on the books to prevent people from ice blocking because it was so popular for people to do that they were killing the hell out of the grass.
Ice blocking was pretty popular from when I was growing up. It was
Right.
it was hard to find actual like blocks of like you can find bags of ice, but you had to know the 7-Eleven to go to get like the block of ice.
Man, I thought Oklahoma did some redneck shit. Like you grew up doing this? This is a thing?
Oh,
I thought this was like for the show. People
Oh
do
yeah,
this?
no, I have been I mean I haven't been a ton and I'm definitely not good at it, but I've been ice blocking for sure.
I'm in
Oh wow.
shock.
Yeah.
See, you guys heard it here first. That Sarah's been ice blocking.
Drag racing and ice blocking, definitely things that people do in the valley from where
Okay.
Sarah,
Sarah's
have you
spilling all the teas.
I know, right? Have you
Yeah.
drag raced? Like you?
no. Oh my god.
Oh.
I can
Oh,
hardly
okay.
First of
I'm
all,
about to-
my first car was a Ford Focus. So it's not I was
Oh,
like,
you tricking
yeah.
people. I got a
could
Ford
race with a
Focus with a V12.
Yeah.
Lights out the back of it. The thing
I
pops a
was
wheelie
not
the whole way down the
room-proven
strip.
anywhere, but you know, people hanging out on like Sepulveda, like back in the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, Sarah's she a reality squad is Fast and Furious. Yeah.
Well, actually, speaking of Fast and Furious, so where Paul Walker got in his car accident was like right outside my old dentist's office. So,
Damn. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Some sad story.
Okay.
But yeah, like laws that have been enacted for like ice block. I actually didn't know that about ice blocking in California, that they actually put laws on the books. But there are definitely laws on the books about drag racing because that is a huge I was gonna say issue. I don't know what else to call it, but it's like a huge thing that a kid in my cousin's class didn't make it to graduation because he died like a week before graduation.
Oh.
Drag racing, yeah, it's a big
Yeah.
deal.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous.
Too bad.
It's
Yeah.
dangerous for
what-
the people not participating. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was just saying, Watch Me Do This in the chat was asking, what is ice blocking? For people who don't remember from the episode, the Browns in this season opener episode, they like get blocks of ice and use them as like sleds and go down a hill in September on ice.
It's dangerous too, you guys. Like,
I can imagine like you hit something hard.
yeah, and you get
Next thing
going
you know, people
really
laid out.
fast.
The first shot they show us, there's a fence in wherever they're initially going down. I was like, what? They're going to hit that fence.
Because
Yeah.
all the steep hills having a abutment or some kind of brick wall at the bottom of it. You know,
Yeah.
you can stop yourself. It'll be amazing. One of my favorite parts of the ice blocking conversation was when Robin defines it as their lifestyle. We have high morals and different ethics. So kids find different ways to have fun. And as soon as she said that, I was like, all kids find different ways to have fun. Anybody who has children, you go out and you try to find that special gift for your child on Christmas or their birthday. You find that gift, you give it to them. If that box is bigger than them, they will spend half the time in the damn box as opposed to playing with the toy that came out of the box. You know why? Because kids are inventive. Like that's just, you know what I mean?
My son
So-
loves wrapping paper. You could wrap. My mom actually used to wrap cereal boxes for us for Christmas because we just liked to open presents. So it didn't matter, like toy, paper,
Right.
boxes.
What's next there?
Yeah, Robin's got people out here thinking like their 7-year-old neighbor's kid is like doing crack in the alley or something. Like, no,
Right,
that's
right.
very like most kids do kid stuff. They're not like non-polygamous kids are not out there like shooting up, like we all did this, whether we were Mormon polygamous or not.
Yeah, and Cody went on to say, ice blocking is one of those things where, if it doesn't harm you or others, then you should be allowed to do it. And he's talking about ice blocking. But everything kind of flows back into the whole idea of the polygamy thing. what also kind of tickled my spirit was Mary when she said it keeps teenagers from getting into trouble with each other. I was like, is that what it does? Is it the blocks of ice freeze over their little jibbly bits so that they can't bump uglies? Because nobody likes frozen hot dogs and chilled clams. Like, what are you talking about? Like, nobody gives a shit. Like,
Frozen hot dog, James.
I'm
I'm
just
just like,
saying, like,
I'm picturing a frozen hot dog right now. Oh my god.
My husband follows an account on Facebook called Hot Dogs in Weird Places. I'm just
uh-oh.
leaving it at that. He will be scrolling Facebook and then just show me like a hot dog like in like a church. And it's like, why? For what purpose? It's hot dogs in weird places.
Yeah. That's actually pretty funny. But like it always amused me. Like that was one of the things, like I said, that amused me about the whole episode, or at least that portion of the episode, because they wanted to make it like this holy, sanctimonious thing that they were doing, to keep the kids out of trouble. Because apparently, in the inner cities and the tough neighborhoods, they don't have enough ice blocking. That's not, what I mean. They could prevent all the gang wars if they had enough ice blocks and steep hills.
We'd have world peace if more countries just embraced ice blocking.
I just thought of the worst joke I will not say, but yes, that's hilarious. They think that.
Yeah, I thought of like 3 or 4. I was like, yeah, better not float those.
Yeah, let's
I'm
not
already
talk about it.
I'm already on thin ice
If
with
we
you.
could like
Literally on thin
West Side
ice with
Story and like dance battle it out, and we could just have like ice blocking races, and we
Right.
would solve everything.
That will be it. Give a big shout out to Diana Hernandez with the $9.99 super sticker. Thank you so much, Diana. Appreciate
Thank
you. Living the big life. And then, what do you guys think about then they go back to the whole transparency makes us unsafe. This is why we got to talk about polygamy, and they're still on the whole we're about to send the kids to school, and I look at the grill and there's 11 hot dogs on the grill. Somebody going hungry because apparently TLC didn't foot the bill for the steaks.
It was like the time it wasn't it season 18. What was the event that they had like McKelty and Tony over and they made like 4 chicken breasts for like $8 or something? They're always
many people
a little short on dinner.
Right. That many people. I guess you just make like 4 or 5 chicken breasts and you just throw it in the middle of the pit and let them fight it out. And figure it out. Only the strong will survive. Like, what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that's why Robin's bitter about her kids. Like, my kids never had a piece of chicken ever.
That's why I have to have a sign on my fridge.
Yeah, right. Don't eat their food. They're hungry. You know what? And I think that because I'll wrap this up and then we can go to Seeking Sister Wives. But then they had the whole thing with the paparazzi and like the we're sought after. But yeah, how long was that going to last, really? And I understand it was scary. But did you guys have any closing thoughts about it? Because we already talked about Christine and like her closing thoughts about whether she will participate in polygamy anymore.
I thought that this was a good episode. I'm loving these early seasons. I'm loving rewatching with all the hindsight of 2024, like where we're at now with the Browns. It's so interesting to see the clues that are alluding to this being the eventuality for the family.
Right.
At one point. Oh, I was just going to say, piggybacking, at one point, Mary says, I believe we just want to show the world that we're so happy, or like something. I might be misquoting her, but something along the lines of, we just want to show the world we're like, normal and happy. And I thought in my head, like, but you're not. Like right now, you and Cody are in real trouble and y'all have a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And all of y'all have a lot of problems with Robin right now and how things are going right now. And all the kids have a lot of problems right now. And they're about to have even more when you tell them they're going to Vegas. So like, yeah, like Sarah said, just crazy watching these early episodes and seeing all the evidence that like, this is going to blow up.
Yeah.
And I think that because that kind of touched on me. For me, that touched on one of the things that I always kind of felt about Sister Wives, especially as I watched and they started doing like the whole victim positioning. Oh, it's terrible. We're mistreated and nobody likes pigs and they need to accept us for who we are. I don't feel like I don't accept polygamy. The issue I have with polygamy isn't the fact that people are making the decision to live polyamorously. The issue I have is basically what happened with the family when people decided that they no longer wanted to participate in polygamy and where they found themselves at the end of the run. Like whether you try to leave and they tell you that you can't, or when you do want to leave, all of a sudden all the money is stripped out of your account and you're financially destitute. So, it's bad things are happening. So if we can solve those problems, then I think a lot more people will be more amenable to the idea of polygamy. But until you can solve those issues, people just don't like it for the end results. It's not you living with somebody else getting your freak on. I could care less. I care less.
I was like, as we transition to Seeking Sister Wife, like I found Johari of the Salahuddins very fast. I was like, I would love to like have a conversation with her and just, first of all, I think that they just brought her on to antagonize Naeem's mom, but like what I would love to learn about her philosophy on relationships and what makes the dynamic work for her. I found her to be very fascinating because we don't really get polyamory aside from like when we're talking about polygamy and stuff, it's really like fundamental Mormon polygamy when there's other ways to structure non-monogamy too.
Right. And that's an excellent point. What did you have? Did you have any points on? I guess we could start with the Salahuddins because we're already right there. Salahuddins. So we'll transition into the Seeking Sister Wives portion. Welcome. What would this is the point where the Salahuddins had brought out the husband's mother to try to convince her that this is something that they wanted to do.
They are torturing this woman.
Right, erupted. The wife is ready to fist fight her. Like it just devolves into some foolishness. And the aftermath is, after every confrontation, I feel like there's always that point where somebody's sitting around, man, if he had said that to me, something, there would have been all kinds of stuff happening. It would have totally jumped off. I know I was right there with you, yo. And like, there's always that kind of shit talking. But like you said, Johari, I think, was the voice of reason.
For sure.
During that whole thing. Because they were there, like the wife was ready to go in on the mom and talk about how the mom wasn't this and wasn't that. But Johari was the one that was trying to pull it back down to like, this is how we can try to fix this situation so that you can have your family and the thing that you want. So did you guys have any perspective on maybe some of the things that Johari was saying to the Salahuddins?
Well, I thought it was interesting that she was standing up for Jamila a little bit because I was like using a lot of these clips in my last video, and I noticed that I was pretty sure because they can only show you so many captions when like 4 people are talking at once. But I'm pretty sure it's Johari who says, I want to hear what she has to say. Let her talk. I think that's Johari talking about Jamila. Certainly it's not Nyla. So I thought that was very interesting. I thought she was the one, like you said, that could see both sides. And it seemed like she was almost trying to be like, Nyla, why are you so concerned with getting her stamp of approval? But then I do have
that. Like,
it makes a lot of sense that she asked that. But like, and the fact that they leave it in the edit, I think like this is organic. But I like assumed They were just doing this because production was like, have a juicy scene with your mother because she hates it and that's going to be juicy.
Right. Yeah, bring your mama.
Yeah.
But I do give her credit because she did say the one thing that, like, I think I was thinking the whole time, like, why do you keep torturing this woman? She used those words too. Why do you keep torturing this woman? She doesn't believe in this. She's not okay with it. And like I said last week, this is a relationship that's theoretical at the moment. This is something that you don't even have a person.
Ugh.
And it would be a lot easier if you actually had somebody that said, this is Barbara, or, what a Naeem or Naima or whatever. This is my young lady, and she's
Right.
coming into the family. Isn't she awesome? And she could present herself to the mother, and that could be a stepping stone to getting the mom to understand. But the idea or the theory of it, I don't think is enough to change the mom's mind. Before we get too far, I wanted to give my condolences to Bernadette Williams. She lost her son, lost her daughter right before her 45th birthday. So I'll keep you in my thoughts and prayers.
Definitely.
with that.
I'm so sorry, Bernadette.
Yeah, so deepest condolences on that. But yeah, so that was one of the things that kind of tweaked me with them. What they're doing. Yeah. Oh yeah, one of the things that also kind of tweaks me up about not only just the Salahuddins, but some of the other people on the show. They don't seem like they know what they're doing when it comes to polygamy. Like, I'm not a polygamist, but
That's what makes it
what
so
y'all saying
good.
don't sound right. This shit don't sound right.
They are awful at polygamy. They're awful at monogamy too, but they're just relationship deficient.
Right. Right.
Who's worse, the
This is-
Salahuddin? Who's worse, the Salahuddins or the Merrifields? Like at polygamy.
Mm.
I mean, they're both their scorecards are like
Or the Ryans.
You know what? I have a score.
Okay.
The Salahuddins are bad because in theory they're bad and they're just kind of on the wrong path. The Merrifields are way worse to me because they're actually going out and impacting other people's lives. Like, if you want to sit around and plot and plan and ruin your own situation, that's your business. But when you start pulling people into your bad situation, it becomes a little more like
And you're spending more money
off to
too.
me.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I will give the Salahuddins credit for not bringing their children on the show.
Right.
So I will give them
Right.
props there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, guys, check out Amanda's video. She did a video on Secret Sister Wives. You made an excellent point where you had said, they keep talking about it's for the children, but they never had the kids on the show, and they never really make good decisions with regard to the children. But it's for the family. That's why we want to keep bringing these strangers around.
Yes.
So
Yep.
make sure you check that video out. It was very funny. Very funny.
Thank you, James.
Now we kind of talked about the Salahuddins because they were on the show. I'll say they were in the house, but they weren't really like the showstoppers. There were a couple people who I was watching. I was like, this is freaking crazy. I guess from least to what I think is possibly the worst. What do you guys think about the Ryans? We'll get them out of the way real quick. Ryans with Becky, Yari. They go out. This is the couple that they would come through. They came from a polygamous background, but for some reason they don't want to go back to their church to find a sister wife, and instead they're out there in the wild trying to convert people over to sister wifedom. They found a young lady who is of Mexican descent, Yari, and it's her birthday, so they decided they're going to take her to a Mexican restaurant. Nothing crazy about that.
Wait, it was Yari's birthday? I totally missed that.
I think
Yeah, it was supposed to be her birthday dinner.
Oh god.
So they take her to a Mexican restaurant.
Worst birthday ever.
No.
Yeah. And so she's at the restaurant with this man that she had went on a date with and kissed, and his wife, who is sitting there. And Yari is like again, these people are so bad at this polygamy thing. Like they haven't really explained polygamy and how it works to Yari. So Yari is kind of approaching it as she's the other woman.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I'm the mistress, and she, as the mistress, she's sitting there with this man and his wife, and the wife looks in the face. So how was that kiss? Yari, of course, didn't have a whole lot to say because at that moment, usually that's when the table starts getting flipped over. You know. So, what did you guys think about the directness of the wife in approaching Yari and her whole approach? And what do you think about the husband once again sitting back completely quiet and disengaged from the conversation and letting the wife ask Yari questions, his girlfriend questions, and he had no way of like smoothing things over? What did you guys think about that foolishness?
Their uncomfortableness makes me, it's palpable. It permeates
Right.
the TV. I'm so uncomfortable. I also kind of have a problem. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. Is it unethical to use like regular dating sites, regular, for if you will, to cast a wider net? And then this woman, I feel like clearly didn't fully understand the dynamic she was walking into. Like she might have
Right.
known he was married, not like I don't know. It seemed like she didn't fully appreciate the like big picture that they were wanting to sell her. So I kind of felt
Mhm.
like, it's Yari was on like Tinder or something. She wasn't on like, I don't know, Seeking Sister Wife or whatever poly dating site there is. So what is there a level of deception there? I don't know.
Oh, I think 100% because
Okay.
because I actually think that Justin is like lying. I think they're really they're sometimes it's a little ambiguous. Like sometimes they're saying, "Oh, she misread my profile," but Justin also says when we first hear this Yari storyline, Justin says, "I kind of wasn't honest with her. I wasn't upfront," and
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I do think there was deception there. And I want to say, like, I give the Sherwoods a lot of shit. But one thing I think they do right is when they go on these sites, they put their profile picture together. So you know it's a couple. If you just have the
Mhm.
guy, and and actually Garrick's Tinder profile was recently posted on the Seeking Sister Wife subreddit, and I found that to be fascinating. And I even thought that was a little sketchy because he only has Danielle in one picture, and I'm like, no, put all your wives in all your pictures. Be clear, because
Right.
when I was dating, I would put pictures of like my friends because like
Right.
you're showing like I'm normal, I have a friend, and then most of the pictures are just me. But so like I would never assume like one picture of Danielle means that Garrick's married to her, and So anyways,
right.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that's an excellent point too, because when you're offered, again, I'm not polygamous. I don't know, but it's just that my mind and my machinations that when you're talking about a plural family, and you're saying you're bringing these people into your plural family, and that's important and should be forethought in their mind as they consider dating you, because your plural family and the idea of having multiple equal wives is the paramount thing in your relationship. Then you should have pictures of, hey guys, when we go out, this is what you're getting. You know what I mean? Like you don't just take a picture of your arm and put that on Tinder. I mean, I guess people do take pictures of other appendages and put them on sites, but yeah, wow, that went bad quick. But you if you're looking for relationships, the whole idea is even if that's for certain sites. But if you're looking for a relationship on these sites, you don't just put that one thing that might attract people. You put the whole thing so that way they know they're getting the whole person. And in this case, when you're doing the thing, you're saying you're going to bring people into your family. They should be familiar with your whole family and not just one aspect of your family that you're trying to, because in the words of Mary and Cody, you're using that as the bait. Like you're baiting these people in, and all of a sudden you're switching up what they're there for. And
Exactly.
I don't think that that's fair.
Yeah.
You know.
And I want to say, single people out there, don't be afraid to use the reverse catfish. Sorry, I'm going a little off subject, but
Mhm.
you know, reverse catfish worked out well for me and my wife. So, like, you know, the idea of putting pictures of yourself that are not your best pictures. So then, like,
Oh.
when they meet you in real life, they're like, "Whoa, you look better than your pictures," and it's like,
Right,
Oh.
right, right.
I don't know why that made me do
I love it.
No, that's actually an excellent point because there's so many people that'll use like the and I won't call these people out, but on reality shows. But there's people even now who will be on these shows and they use heavy filters
Yeah.
so much so that they're unrecognizable by the time they
I
get
was gonna
finished
say,
with the filter.
Very,
Yeah,
Barry Brown.
I know how to
Oh.
Crazy said, man, somebody said wank, but they're unrecognizable. So if you put that up, you'll be in the bar with the people like, yeah, I'll meet you at the tavern, at 9 o'clock. They show up at 9 o'clock, walk right past you because you don't look anything like the person. Like, what are you, witness protection? Like, what the hell? Like, you look totally different. But that's actually really good advice, Amanda, because if you downplay it, then all of a sudden they see like, wow,
I'm
okay,
telling you,
all right.
everyone out there who's looking, reverse catfish. It totally works.
Right. Got a treat. I didn't realize that I was going, okay, I would have worn a tie if I knew it was like this. But big shout out to Eve, $2 super chat. Oh, I love world peace and sisterhood. Favorite. And of course, Teresa Skinner in the house, 99 super chat. Ice blocking promotes morality.
I don't
and
make
world
rules.
peace. That's it. All right. I just ice blocked them. Soundbite bio 399 super chat. Thank you so much. Nick Davis is a must see TV. Yeah, we'll be talking about Nick Davis because I have some thoughts about Nick.
We
Mr.
met
Nick.
his match and I loved it.
Yeah, Mr. Nick was in trouble. He didn't know how to deal with it. Aaron Shave with Shav with the 99 super chat. You'd be amazed at the number of couples on there. Okay. Yeah, on I guess talking about the number of couples on these sites,
Yeah.
looking for people trying to get involved. I think that it's open. I think that it's one of those things where if people are into it, you have to be honest about what it is you want. And you should be honest with the people that you're trying to be involved with, not just because it's the decent thing to do for the people that you want to be involved with. You don't want to waste their time. But at the same time, you don't want to mess yourself up because you'll get your expectations super high on pursuing these folks and like, oh man, I can't wait to see her. She's amazing looking. And you get there and then all of a sudden you throw that curveball. I'm not into that.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're into it, they'll let you know. Trust me, the world is big. People are into all kinds of stuff. And if you into it, there's somebody out there into it too. You know.
Mhm.
But that's my little two on that. Now, so we talked about Creepy Pants and his wife sitting there excited. Well, are you guys gonna get together or what? Like I couldn't do her either. Like I'd have had to leave. With the one family, the Looney Bin, the Ryan family, I'd have had to leave as well. Like that, she's a crazy person.
Yeah.
With Danielle, did you guys kiss or did you enjoy it? Isn't that how women love to rate ourselves? Like, oh, come on, calm down, chick. It's okay.
You had the eyes
Calm
there.
down. Back it down. It's all right. So we'll talk about who you want to go with? Sherwoods? Let's talk Sherwoods.
Because
What
we
did you guys think
them
about?
up, right? Like that was a kind of a bow on their story. They got
Yeah, I think they're coming to a close with the season. Yeah, I think they're almost done. But I will say this. When old girl showed up, Sarah showed up, and she broke up with him, I laughed my ass off. I thought it was hilarious. For those who don't know, the Sherwood family, this family is actually a little different because usually the seeking sister wives is for the husband. In this particular case, they're seeking a sister wife for the wife to enjoy, and they'll come in and join the family. So, what did you guys think about the whole approach? Because they're in the middle of their confessional, they're sitting on the couch, they're giving their twos and fews to the producer. All of a sudden, the phone starts blowing up, and of course, the husband recognizes that, hey, it's the same number, keep calling you. So, what do they want?
Did they
And the
not
wife,
have
oh, that's
the
fair.
number saved?
I guess not. Guess the girlfriend thing didn't really go as far as they thought.
I guess
So-
not.
Yeah.
I thought it was amazing television, and it was probably not like totally organic, but I didn't care. I was like, this is great. Like, interrupt them.
Right.
They forced her to do this when she didn't want to, and she turned around and she said, take some of your own medicine. I'm out.
Right.
You can't force me nothing. Force out. I'm out. Say hello to my ass, and I'm out.
Right.
And I
Shane
loved it.
was so pissed. I was like, whoa. Like, it's like not
scary.
that big of a deal.
Not a
Right.
good look.
Right. And the thing that kind of got me was the like I said, I enjoyed the fact that she came out, and for me, one of the more things that made me like Sarah more, because I already kind of liked Sarah because she was direct and she was very clear about what she wanted, what she accepted, what she didn't. But one of the things that made me like her more was the fact that she came out and she said, look, this is something I thought about. I felt like you guys were pressuring me to make a decision. I made the decision because I thought it's what you wanted. But as I thought about it, I'm not going to allow you to make a decision for me that I don't necessarily feel just to make you happy.
Yeah.
And I think that this is something that, you know, could and should ripple throughout most of these couples on this show. Like, especially Danielle. We'll talk about Danielle with the Davises. But that's something that if you're not okay with it, you don't have to agree with it and go along with it because it makes your partner or the person you're interested in happy.
Yeah.
And when she said that, I was like, yes, Lord, this finally somebody gets it. Don't do
Yeah,
it. You know?
Ashley's the psychologist, but Sarah took Ashley to school. Like, she was like,
Right.
I know what is healthy and I don't have to do this. And you don't get to tell me that I have to do this. And everything you said, James. Yes, agreed.
Yeah. You are not the boss of me. And she rolled out. Bam, see you. But one of the things that also kind of because already I was not a huge fan of them. Like I just wasn't feeling them. But their reaction when she did come out and say, look, this isn't for me, and blah, blah, blah. And they stood there. I wrote some of it down. What did they say? They said, she said that she didn't want to prolong it. She didn't want to drag it out. She was going to just cut it off because it wasn't working for her, whatever the case may be. This might not be a good situation for her. And they went in the house and immediately it was, you know, oh, she's a shit person. What kind of shit person does that?
Yeah.
We dodged the bullet with Sarah because she wasn't being honest. Talk about how they didn't have and then eventually it was like, oh, we don't have time to date. But they blasted this young lady. Oh, what kind of effing person does this? I tell you what kind of person, a crap person. But she was honest with them. And there's nothing wrong with that. What did you guys think about that particular scene?
I didn't understand where Shane's rage was coming from. He was so upset. It was the reaction didn't really match the preceding event. Like, I think in all reality, this was like the day they were official. They bullied her into becoming official with them the day before, right? And then she like texted them hello, and like she had second thought, like she changed her mind. People are allowed to change their mind.
Right. Apparently
Yeah.
not.
When your argument for why you're mad at somebody is like, well, you said you would and then you changed your mind, you have no argument because, like, who cares? Who cares? First of all, and they were like, oh, she was texting us as if nothing was going on. Like, we've all been there where we're like texting one
Yeah.
thing, but behind scenes we're like, oh, I don't really feel all that should matter. Like if I'm then all that should matter because I care more about the person I'm with wanting to be with me, I would be like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry I pressured you into that. And instead, they were like instantly defensive and angry, and like they made themselves look terrible. I'll tell you what, Sarah was very
Right.
respectful and healthy, and they, like you said, crapped all over her, and they made her look bad. They made themselves look like bad people.
Yeah.
Right. No, I agree. And I think that's kind of one of the big things for me is that if you are in a relationship with somebody, how you exit can be just as important as how you go in. And there is a point where, especially with these plural marriages, because the big thing is always they chose to be here, and if they don't want to be here, they can leave. Apparently not, because the second they say that this isn't for me, all of a sudden it's a whole problem. You're a terrible person. You made promises. Now you're a liar and you're a deceiver of the way. But if they don't feel comfortable in this type of relationship, especially recognizing the fact that this is an alternative lifestyle. And people may not feel comfortable participating in this type of activity. And if they don't feel comfortable, don't make people do things they're not comfortable with. If you have a crazy, kink twist or whatever, that's your business. But you can't force someone. Well, you said that you would do it. I don't like it. So it stops. That's at least my thought, and kind of where you are, Amanda. Just the fact that if there was a window, and I say a window, not a door, but a window where they could have saved this relationship. How they reacted to her when she said, I wasn't comfortable with making this rush commitment. If they would have took a step back and said, okay, you know what we want? I want you to feel comfortable. What can I do to make you feel comfortable? Is there anything I can do? Are you okay with dating us? Maybe getting to know us a little better before we make that commitment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they could have talked to her and she might have been more apt to it. But if we're going to come to it like this all or nothing, then the answer should be no.
Mhm.
The answer should be no.
How about if they just recognized that she was right, that they rushed her and pressured her and they had no business? She says, I don't know if it was this episode or the one before, but she says like, oh my gosh, I've never had somebody after 2 dates force me
Yeah,
to
that
be
was the
official.
third date. Yeah.
They could have done so many things, and maybe it was just for TV. If it was, then like, congrats, you sacrificed looking like the villains. But
Right.
they just chose so poorly. If what they really wanted was to keep Sarah, like you said, they could have done so many other things, and they didn't do that.
Mhm.
See, I wish we had reunions for Seeking Sister Wife, because I want to hear from Sarah. I want to hear from Grace.
Right.
I want to hear
Same.
from these women. What are they up to now?
And you know what? I didn't think about that before until you said it. Well, actually, I thought about it while I was watching the show, forgot about it. But how do you think Grace feels when Ashley breaks up with her? It's like, well, I wasn't really feeling her, good riddance. And she's sitting there, breaks up with Sarah, and she's crying, open weeping. If I was Grace, I might think that a certain kind of way, even though the relationship didn't work out. Like, they didn't cry over me. They didn't even pause. They were right on the site. The hell with it. James is done. Like, I'm done with him. But with the big text, oh God, I can't believe it. He broke my heart. Oh, big shout out to Eve with the $5 super chat. Out fourth count. See y'all in a few months, baby. James, Amanda, Sarah hates Europeans.
No,
Hashtag.
don't.
Excuse me, I learned France. I learned France.
We are horrible with the metric system. That is undeniable.
I learned French, so I love the Europes. Ians.
The
Oh.
Europes. I love the Europes. Yeah, the only thing I would say, the last thing I would just say about the Sherwoods, and then we'll get into the Dirty Davises. But the Sherwoods, they're kind of they really hit me with the fact that so few people who are involved with polygamy have a real understanding of what polygamy and the polygamy rules are, and they tend to try to force people into these types of relationships because they put themselves out as though they're all ready and they're all willing to participate in it, and they fully, everybody can come in and it's great, and people don't understand us, but it's okay. And then as soon as somebody wants to leave, all of a sudden they're terrible people and they can't believe they want to go. And then when it comes down to, in most cases, it's because they approach it as though they're adding a plus one to their family, as opposed to restructuring their family. I kind of talked about it last night, but when you're a couple and you have a relationship, if you're going to add another person, then essentially what you're doing, if you're really going to have that person as a true partner, is you have to destroy the coupling that you have. That relationship no longer exists, and you have to reformulate a new relationship that involves that additional person. You can't just add, like, I felt like they were treating Sarah like a toy. Like you're something I'm going to play with on the side, but the real relationship is my marriage. From Ashley's perspective, my real relationship is my marriage with Shane. But you just something I'm gonna do on the weekends.
Yeah.
And to Sarah's credit, she was like, I have more value than that, and so I respect her from that perspective.
Yep.
But now it's come to time, and we're almost done, guys. But this is the last family we're gonna cover is the Dirty Davises, with Nick Davis going out on his special date with Meg Thee Stallion.
Lime green
Everybody
dress.
was suited
Amazing.
and booted.
Jasmine
Everybody
is a
just suited
stone
and
cold
booted,
weirdo, and I am here for it.
right? Riding in the carriage around the park. First things first. What was your take on Nick's reaction to Megan? Right.
You mean this?
Yeah. Wow, you amazing.
This was my mic was boobs in that scenario for everybody watching.
Right. How did you
Um,
get those in your shirt? Yeah, it's crazy.
so many thoughts. I remember one time my wife was like had a coworker who she was like, this was before we were married. She was like, "Oh, you're gonna love this guy. He's exactly like you." And I met him and I hated him. And I was like, I hate this person. I wonder if like her being so similar to Nick, like I don't know how much he's into it. Maybe he is. I mean, he's into her body, like that's for sure. But
It was so funny to me because she is just talking about her mom and studying all these different religions, and her mom is a preacher or pastor or something, and she has these goddesses, and Nick's like, "Oh, you're weird." Like, and
Mhm.
I was like, "Dude, have you heard you?" Like,
Right. Well, because he had taken a position and he was saying that in our family, spirituality is based in mathematics and science. And then that's when she started in, well, my family, my mother's a reverend and she studied 8 different religions. Now, the funny thing is that when you hear that, especially if you come from like a Western or a Christian background, your assumption is that she was a Christian studying 8 different religions, possibly like Islam, Judaism, so on and so forth. No. Right, Hinduism, Buddhism, because she has a Buddhism guide, African religions. Like, homegirl is serious. So when she started doing that, what did you guys think about? Because even with with that aspect of it, what did you guys think about her mirroring Nick back? Because I'm a firm believer that Megan has the ability to mirror the people that she's with. So when she was with the
Jasmine.
3 ladies, Jasmine, yeah, you're right.
I thought
Jasmine.
you were making a joke because she's like Meg the Stallion. I was like, oh no, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's why I thought of it, because she got all dressed up and she was all suited and booted. But Jasmine. So Jasmine had the ability to mirror the ladies back, and there's a point where I think that you can kind of get confused about Jasmine, because she is that way, and she comes off kind of flighty. But I think that she's more intelligent than she comes off as. Like, because there is a certain level of intelligence for you to immediately pick up on people's idiosyncrasies and be able to mirror it back to them almost identically. Because she did that with the three ladies. Oh, well, what do you think about having kids? Oh, I love children. I love having as many children as you want me to have. And she gives them the perfect answer.
Right.
She's with Nick, and her personality was completely different, like a different person.
Yep.
So what do you guys think about that?
I saw that. I picked up on that as well. I feel like she takes everything on as like a job interview. Like she wants to present what she feels like whoever she's talking to, what are they looking for? She will give them that, whether she really buys into that or not. I don't know.
I get the feeling when she's like doing all this stuff on this date, I feel like Nick is I know we're supposed to be talking about Jasmine, but I feel like Nick is like, no, wait a second. I'm supposed to be the one laying the knowledge down on you. You're not supposed to be laying the knowledge down on me. Like I think he wants the Danielle reaction of like, tell me more about your thoughts.
Yeah.
Right. And I actually have to go back because I suspect that there were a few key moments where, like, Nick is a shit talker. Like, I'm gonna just come right out and say it. Like, in my opinion, Nick is a shit talker. I've known guys like Nick, and they have a couple moves that are pretty much their mainstay moves, like offering the coat. When he tells her that he wants to get to know her, and he's more interested in knowing her mind and not her body, and although he is attracted to her body, I don't want you to get confused. I'm like, come on, man, what are we doing? Really, that's stuff you say in high school, bro. But I think that there's also a level of the lady that you typically attract and you talk to, and when you meet somebody who's at a different
Amanda.
Yeah, timed out.
Yeah.
But when you meet somebody at a different level and you start talking to them at that different level, but you're talking to them like you used to talk to the other ladies, but you're dealing with somebody different. I think that's where Nick is kind of hitting a stumbling point.
Yeah, for sure.
But let me give a shout out to Aaron Shav with the $1.99 super chat. One of the early seasons of Seeking Sister Wives had a reunion. This is true. I think they stopped doing the reunions once the one brother that was on the show passed away.
Oh, that Bernie guy? Was it that guy?
Yeah.
Hi. Sorry.
She's back.
Every week.
She's back.
Sorry.
And then Bernadette Williams Reyes with the $10 super chat. Who knew polygamy is so entertaining? LOL, I love you three. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Love you back.
Oh God, I can't.
But
oh, what a bad heart. Why can't I do this?
But my fingers don't work. The little.
Thank you. Why? Oh, I'm gonna do it for. Oh my gosh! I'm just not gonna do it.
Yeah. It's like, it looks terrible. It's breaking my heart. So he does all spiritual based things. Just to cut to the chase a little bit. What were some of the? One of the things that really kind of ticked me about Nick. One of the things that he had said was okay, when she started talking about like the 8 different religions and she's a pagan, and her who was it? Her goddesses are Queen Yen and Oshun, and these are the people that she has. And Nick is like, yeah, that's really interesting. We're gonna have some deep conversations on some evenings. I've never heard somebody say we're going to have smart conversations and plan out when you're going to have those smart conversations. We're going to have a deep conversation tonight, so be ready. Like usually deep conversations happen at or more of a spur of the moment.
Yeah.
Or that could have been the opening for him to actually have that deep conversation with her. So what do you guys think about like Nick with the full court press and trying to get her? Because it seems to me like he's just trying to rush her in the bed as fast as he can, which is typical for this particular show. But what did you guys think about that with regard to, his approach?
I agree. I 100% think he was saying what he needed to say to secure a good ending at the end of the night.
Right. Try to secure the happy ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything a
Like,
man.
surprise, Danielle's there.
Right. Yeah, when you get back to the crib, all of a sudden she's sitting up waiting for his ass. And who thinks that she was waiting because she missed Nick and she just wanted to see his beautiful face before she went to sleep? Or do you think she was waiting up to make sure he wasn't bringing home a guest?
Yeah, going up to the boom boom room.
Right. Which
Yeah.
you already, you know.
The
How
Danielle
about the
have
ridiculous?
something in common in Seeking Sister Wife. They know how to foil their husband's plans.
Right. It's in the name.
Yeah.
Foiling plans.
I'm sorry.
Danielle is Greek for foiling plans.
I was just picturing both Danielle's like high-fiving, being like,
Yeah.
it's boom boom time. Let's go keep our men.
Yeah, right. Well, you know, it's kind of, you know, one of the things that's a little disjointed for me is the fact that you have a household where you actually create a space where he could bring somebody home and spend the night. Like legitly, like these three ladies could have been getting up in the morning and there's somebody downstairs in the kitchen making, you know what I mean? Making eggs or eating eggs that you made. Like, you know, what the hell? I didn't know you was here. Well, we were in the boom boom room. We went and didn't want to bother you. So they kind of did it to themselves. Teresa Skinner with a 1999 super sticker. Thank you, Teresa. Teresa Skinner.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Teresa.
you.
I actually think they would have all been okay except Danielle. Because like on the show, he banged Danielle the first night they dated, right? Am I crazy?
Oh, good point.
Yeah, I think that's what, and I really get the feeling of that's what he was trying to do. I think it's disingenuous when he made the whole. I want to, yeah, I thought it was like actually a good turn for her. When he said something to the effect of, "Well, if I can't have your mind, I don't want your body," and she looked right back at him and said, "Well, if you don't have my mind, you won't have my body." And
It was
he
like
thought
she
that shit
slapped
was
him with
cute.
those words. She was like,
Yes.
bam.
Yeah, but if you notice, like when she said that, he blew right past it. Like he was like, okay, yeah. And he didn't get messed up until she actually said to him, he was like, well, you know, all that aside, what do you think about perhaps coming to the house and we do like a dry run with the family? You spend the weekend. And she said, look, I want to take things slow. What? Slow? What does that mean? So I guess to close out, let you guys have something else with regard to it. What do you guys think about the pacing of this? Because if you listen to, I forget her name. It's not Megan. It's
Jasmine.
Jasmine. If you listen to Jasmine and you listen to what Danielle said when he got home and she pulled the sneaky trip on him. Hey, surprise! When he asked Danielle about having Jasmine stay for the long weekend, Danielle had looked him in the face and said, well, I want to take things slow. Jasmine has said the only thing I'll ask from you is patience so that we get to know each other and we take things slow. And at no point does Nick demonstrate his ability to slow things down. So what do you guys think about him trying to shoehorn her into in the bed? I guess in the bed, not so much in the family, but into bed as quickly as he has. And has that changed your opinion about him? Because I think both of you guys kind of liked him in the beginning. But has that changed your opinion on him?
Yeah, when he's featured too much, it's like, oh man, come on, Nick. Like I was rooting for you.
What are we doing?
But really, I feel like the sleeper agent in this whole family is April. There's some like diabolicalness with like her hand in the finances and stuff. But yeah, I did really enjoy the Davises because they seemed to enjoy each other so much. And you know
Mhm.
what you were saying when we started out talking about Seeking to Survive. If that's your jam, cool. You know, like,
Right.
but yeah, it definitely there seems to be a theme of these couples, these established couples putting so much pressure on the incoming person to like conform and adhere and like fall in line immediately. And it's like there's no finesse into romance and
Right.
stuff.
Right.
I
Right.
wanted to agree with you that like, no, I don't like Nick Davis, but I felt different than Sarah. I actually, at one point, a few episodes, was like, I'm not getting enough Nick Davis. Nick Davis is the star of this family, and I'm getting a lot of April. And like, until this date, not a lot of Nick Davis.
That's true.
And I want to see him for the entertainment value, but I
Yeah.
don't really care. The Jasmine stuff doesn't really bother me because, like we said earlier, like I kind of see her as his equal, and to me, this is proof that Nick just wants a harem.
Yeah.
Because I don't even think he likes Jasmine that
Yeah.
much. I just think he wants to grow his like whatever.
He doesn't even put the effort into finding the women. He lets the women fight. So yeah, really, I don't think
Not
who it
normal.
is matters.
Yeah. I don't think he cares because I don't think he likes her, and he's still like, all right, let's do this. Welcome to our family. As like you've got soundbite up here saying like it's
yeah.
a numbers game to Nick.
Right.
Thank you for the super.
Right. And I think that's accurate. And the one thing I will say is, and I think Nick kind of feels it. I really think this though. I think that with Jasmine, she's interested in being on the show, and she
Yeah.
might not be as interested in being with Nick. And so I don't think that like Nick's push and pull to try to pull her in, because there were a couple points where if she was really into Nick, the way she kind of purported a little bit, that there were a couple points where she could have expressed that, but she didn't. So it's that I was kind of waiting for that emotional handshake. I'll call it that, like the emotional handshake that you receive when you're kind of into somebody. You might throw a signal out. It doesn't mean you're going home with them, but it's just like you throw a signal out, and they give you that confirmation that yeah, I'm interested. Yeah, I see it. But with her, like Nick would throw it out, and she was kind of like, no, I'm good. I'm all right. You can put that back in your pocket. So I think that that's where Nick is kind of meeting his match. I do think that if given the opportunity, Nick is going to try to lay down with her and do the thing because he's in it. It feels like he's in it for the experience of having multiple people, kind of like Garrick is. Like Garrick is the same way, where I don't feel like Garrick is trying to build a family. I don't. I just feel like Garrick is just trying to find as many women as he possibly can to have as many options as he can possibly can in a short amount of time because he's not trying to build lasting connections with anybody, you know. And I kind of feel the same way with Nick because he doesn't really have the opportunity. Like like I said, a deep conversation. You're really looking for a conversation. Like I like to have conversations. Obviously I like to talk because I'm doing a lot here. But if I'm sitting there and I'm having a conversation with a young lady and she says something I think is interesting, I'm going to take the opportunity to explore that point at the moment. I'm not going to put that on the back burner and say, yeah, that's how you grew up, 8 religions. Wow, we'll talk about that after we sleep together on the long weekend. It'll be during the downtime when I'm preparing you a delicious breakfast. No, like I want to have that conversation now because I think that it's interesting, you know, and that would be something that I think kind of what you said too, Amanda, is that predetermination that you're going to have, like, eventually we're going to wind up in bed together. So I just want to do whatever I need to do, check all the boxes so that we can get that end point. But they don't care anything about the journey and making their partner feel comfortable, making their partner feel accepted. Like I don't feel that from them.
No,
Like, he's
and
okay with his relationship. But
when you asked about like, oh, did this change your opinion of Nick? And I said no. What I will add is that the way Nick is with Danielle changes my opinion of him. It makes him less likable. I feel a little gross sometimes when I watch the two of them together. And that came after I saw her concerns be ignored.
Yeah.
right,
So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'm on that same page where I think that like I said, I'm okay with a lot of different relationships because I know a lot of people have different things.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that I'm consistent with, I like to, or at least I like to think I'm consistent with, is I like to understand that there is true consent from everybody who is involved. That the
Yeah.
people who are involved are being fulfilled and they're deciding that this is what I want to do. And as you had mentioned with Danielle, if she has any hesitation, then her concerns and her reasons for having that hesitation need to be addressed, particularly before you try to bring another person in the family. And as mentioned by Soundbite, before you try to make her marry this other person, and she's not. This is something she's not comfortable with. It's your responsibility to make sure that your people that you're involved with are comfortable and they're
Yeah.
okay with it, with whatever it is you're doing. And it's polygamy, monogamy, free game, kinko, whatever you want to call it. Get your strange in, whatever. Your people need to be comfortable with what you're doing. But that's where I'm at. Do you guys have anything that you want to add as far as seeking sister wives, or anything else?
Seeking Sister Wife season 5 has been very enjoyable. So yes.
Yeah,
It's
to
been
me,
eye-opening.
what was that, James?
Not saying it's been eye opening.
Yeah,
some
this
regards,
has
please.
been I actually think this is a case where we have like maybe if the fan I see maybe it's my own personal journey with the show and the fact that like I've become a new fan of the show and I never thought I would be a fan of this show. I'm in a different position, obviously. I create content for it, but I actually think there's hope that like maybe we can get a tell-all or a reunion.
I hope so.
Surely TLC knows like the Browns are not at the like height of like surely the Browns as far as their career are on the way down. So they got to get some new stars to keep up, keep paying their bills. So
The Merrifields are auditioning for sure.
They are.
For that spot.
And
Right.
and I see two people who are like totally fine being reality TV stars. So
Mhm.
Right. Excellent point. All right. So do you guys have anything you have coming up that you want to tell folks about?
Just usual
Maybe some
content
videos.
coming this week.
yeah, just keep a lookout for my next Seeking Sister Wife recap. I'm trying to get them out as fast as possible, and yeah.
Okay. And I'll be doing my live tomorrow. My tape TV shows. I want to try to mix in some different things. I'll be talking about Puff Daddy tomorrow at 4:00 p.m. So try to
Okay,
get
I'm
more
tuning in.
European friendly.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I want to hear your. I would love to hear it because like that's taken over. Like
Oh my
I can't read the news or look at my phone without seeing a picture of P Diddy. So
Right. The P Diddy love. He's in full effect. Yes. I don't know. At what point do you lose your nickname? Like, you do so much dirt and like, nah, man, I gotta call you Sean Combs. Like you're a Sean Combs. But that's all I have. Thank you guys for joining us. You guys were amazing. Everybody who participated, folks who were dropping off the supers, the people who are super cool in the chat. Once again, I want to thank the mods for holding us down, keeping everything flowing in the chat. I know I didn't get a chance to bounce into a lot of the chats and put it up on the screen, but I appreciate you. I know we were kind of looking and laughing and giggling to ourselves about some of the stuff that was being written. But thank you guys so much. All right.
all right, see you
Take
next
it easy,
week.
guys. Have a great night and enjoy the rest of your week. Make sure you check us out for the rest of our shows. Hit that like button on your way out if you haven't hit it yet. Make sure you subscribe to each of our channels because we love the subscriptions. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a great night.
Bye.
Good night.